This is gonna be a very quick stream, y'all. Probably. We'll see. I just kind of want to come out here and give an instant reaction to the Donovan Mitchell news because, as you'd expect, Twitter is ablaze and times suck right now. I'm not necessarily in the mood to make jokes. I've seen a lot of dumb stuff on Twitter, but I'm not in the mood to debate those people because they're probably very upset right now too, and they're allowed to feel however they want to feel. I'm gonna do a quick sound check. Oh, gotta watch an ad. Your boys got to get paid. Make sure y'all subscribe, like the stream. The timing of this was terrible, by the way, because I just posted a Tyler Hero video at 9 a.m., which I think is excellent. Like I worked pretty hard on it, so make sure y'all go check it out. And I didn't want to post another Donovan Mitchell video right now because I don't know if on YouTube, if you post back-to-back videos, if it affects the performance of the first video. Hold up, let me listen. Sound check sounds good. But yeah, I don't know if it affects the first video. So I think if I do a live stream, people can come back and watch this later today, just to get my instant thoughts on the Mitchell stuff, and then we'll get a. I see you, Caleb. You want us to save us? Yeah, I already had someone on a. Well, let me finish my thought. I'll certainly have a full Donovan Mitchell reaction, what the Miami Heat can do now. I have a full video out about that probably tomorrow. That'll probably be tomorrow's video. But I already had someone on Twitter tell me to choke on a dick. Let me go ahead and pull up the Twitter here. I already got that tab up. Obviously, you could see the news right here. This is what I woke up to this morning, guys. Not what I expected. And honestly, my first thought was, you guys, I wanted to get out a video. But unfortunately, my Tyler Hero video already premiered. So once it premiered, there was no there was no deleting that and going back. But I want to show y'all this. This is also the first tweet I woke up to. Was this one uh, from Sutton season, JP J Island, who I don't even know who this guy is. Does he at least follow me? No, he does not follow me. But I woke up to a tweet telling me to choke on a dick, and you know what? I'm not mad at you. You know what? I understand you're frustrated. Oh, and by the way, I should show context. He is referring to this tweet that I sent out 2 days ago saying, I've never been more sure Donovan Mitchell's gone because I said, why hasn't the extension happened yet? So I get his frustration. I don't take it personal. You looking for someone to redirect your anger on. And if I'm that guy, JP, we cool. I'm not going to hold it against you. But obviously, my initial thought on all of this is that, yeah, the Miami Heat are screwed. That was my first thought. And obviously, we can go to some other options. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later in this stream here. Let me go back to this tab. But this is the one thing that I felt like could definitely help the Heat compete with the Knicks with Mikal Bridges and the 76ers with Paul George now. And obviously, I've been very low on Paul George. I don't think that move is super scary. But I mean, if you're talking about just making the playoffs, that's something that obviously I think the Heat might have trouble with now. Because let me pull up the NBA standings again. We did this, I think, on last night's stream. These are the teams that are likely better record will have a better record than the Heat next year. East or in the East, Celtics, Knicks, Bucks, Cavs, Magic, Pacers, Sixers. So that's literally the 7 teams that were above us last year. And if you want to go through those teams, well, the Celtics, they re-signed all their guys. That's a plus for them. The Knicks obviously got better. The Bucks, when they signed DeLon Wright, did they do anything else other than the draft so far? I'm not too sure. So I don't think they got any significant upgrades as of yet. Correct me if I'm wrong. Obviously, the Cavs re-signed Donovan Mitchell, but they didn't do anything else yet either. The Magic got Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. I think that's a great pickup for them. Pacers re-signed Siakam, and the 76ers got Paul George, obviously. And I should say from the Heat perspective, we also did resign Bam. That's our guy. So while I know people are going to say everyone in the East got better, well, really the only teams that got directly better was, I guess, the Magic, Sixers, and the Knicks, right? Because all those other teams essentially just re-signed their best player, which is what the Heat did with Bam, right? But they were better than the Heat last year. They likely will be better this year because we know the Heat don't necessarily take the regular season serious unless they somehow have some sort of change of philosophy here. But that was my first reaction, is that Mitchell was the only guy that could really help us compete with the Celtics, I'll say. And Can some of these other options do it? Really, the only other whales out there, if you still want to go that route, and again, I'm using the term whale loosely, is Trae Young, Brandon Ingram, Zach LaVine, Larry Markkinen. Is that it? Is that the four names that we pretty much have heard floating around who haven't landed in a spot yet? I mean, I'll start from the bottom up. Guys, I'd probably want the least. And you know what? I think I'd want Brandon Ingram the least. Let me pull up his injury history because it's worse than you'd imagine. Let me switch the screen share here, and I'll put y'all up over here. It really is worse than you can imagine here. Look at this. 64 games last year, but we know he missed the playoffs. 45 games. This shit is tripping. 45 games the year before. 55. This is not me shaking the screen, guys. Uh, 45 games the year before. 55 before that. 61, 62, 55, 59. Really hasn't had a quote-unquote healthy season since his rookie year in 2017. Now, I know he could score. His numbers don't really pop out at you. Last year, only 21 points per game, 35% from three. But the year before, he was 39% from three. The year before, this website's tripping. Let me get out of here. The year before, though, he was only 32% from three. So the numbers don't pop out at you. That's why he's probably my least favorite option, my second to least favorite option. Look, we're kind of talking about the best of the worst now. Is Zach LaVine. Obviously, you know what his numbers and his injury history is. What? This website is tripping so much, man. I want to show y'all the stats, though. Maybe if I zoom out a little bit. Y'all see his injury history. Only 25 games last year. 77 was good. But before that, did miss quite a bit of time. We obviously know his numbers are good, even though in his 25 games this year, they took a big drop. But the point is, I don't want Zach LaVine for his talent. I guess I should have started with that. The only reason, or I don't want Zach LaVine at all. The only reason I would consider Zach LaVine is because his trade value is so low. Obviously, the Bulls have been rumored to attach a first-round pick to get rid of him. And if you're willing, and as a Heat team that needs assets, if they're willing to give us one, I would take it. And on top of that, people don't like his contract. Yes, he gets paid more per year than Tyler Hero, but it's only for 2 more years with a player option that he probably would opt out of, maybe, because he could resign for more years. But still, 2 more years. Tyler Hero's contract is 3 more years. So although Zach LaVine gets paid more per year, it is for 1 less year. So by getting Zach LaVine, you're not only getting a first-round pick with that, you're also shedding a year of really big money. And I do think both of those are pretty positive. I guess third to last guy or second to most guy I'd want is Larry Markkinen. I think all Heat fans would love him. Look at that, true 7-footer, has great size, and we know his shooting would fit pretty seamlessly into the starting lineup, over 39% for the last couple seasons, and he's a big-time scorer. Not a sensational rebounder or nothing, but he'd be a stretch 4. He'd sort of be your Porzingis, except probably slightly worse defensively, but he is a very aggressive guy in the paint as well. I don't want to make it just sound like he's some soft, European that stays on the perimeter. No, he would fit perfect on this team, and I think most people agree. And the number one guy I would want is Trae Young. Does he help us get over the Boston Celtics? I don't know. Do Heat fans even want to hear about that right now? Probably not, because we're all mad about Donovan Mitchell. But I do like what Trae Young brings to the table, and I've talked about it 1,000 times, and I don't want to bore y'all with that again. People know he's polarizing. You either hate him or love him. You know the reasons for both. I just happen to love him, but I don't think we necessarily want to talk about all that right now. But let me read some of y'all comments, and then we'll probably go through Twitter and then get out of here for now. DeMar, I would have liked DeMar a couple years ago, maybe. Right now, I guess he'd still be okay, but maybe if he's willing to take a pay cut, I don't know, man. Yeah, imagine what D. Mitch is getting right now. I know I was getting some hate on Twitter. This fan base was slandering Cavs GM for capping about D. Mitch resigning. Yeah, that was me, bro. That was me. Tank time. Fortunately, I found out yesterday their first-round pick is lottery protected, so they certainly could. But that would mean trading Jimmy Butler, and I do not think the Miami Heat would ever do that. Plus, Jimmy already said he's not signing an extension with wherever he goes to, meaning his trade value is a lot less. So that's not that great now at all. Gene Constantine brings up the good points. At least this happened early on, unlike Dame. So now we can pivot. And let me see what else we got here. So pissed we didn't get Oubre. Hey, if we would have got Oubre last year, he probably never hurts Jimmy. Who knows what the hell happens after that? The butterfly effect is insane. What are the chances Jimmy leaves? To be honest, I think Jimmy's die hard for life. I believe that way. You could call me a fool because Dwayne Wade walked, but I don't believe Jimmy would leave. Obviously, it really depends how the season plays out in particular because he's a guy who probably wants to win over anything else. And I don't know how successful the Heat will be at that. Uh, Problem is, listen, I posted the Tyler Hero video earlier today as I'm getting some more hate on YouTube as someone comments egg on your face. Shout out to you, Chris. I guess I owe that for being pretty strong in that Donovan Mitchell was leaving. Not even pretty strong. I put out a few tweets and maybe made a few jokes and videos. But let me not recant now. I said it. I'll own up to it. I was dead wrong. But yeah, I don't think they trade Jimmy Butler. And the problem with trading Tyler Hero is you have to find someone who wants him. And I don't know if that exists right now. And as I was saying earlier today at 9 a.m., my Tyler Hero video dropped. It's a good one. Make sure y'all check it out after this. Hopefully, me live streaming doesn't affect the performance of that video. I don't know how the YouTube algorithm works, but I did work hard on that video, so I hope it's pretty good. The Miami Heat has 3 tradable draft picks. No, I don't believe so. I think they have 2 right now, Gene, because 2031 just opened up. So I believe they only have 2039 and 2029 and 2031, I believe. I see a lot of Pat retire. Let me see what else we got here. Bye-bye to the pipe dream. Yeah, at least it's done early. Run it back. Irwin, shout out to you, my boy. Road to 5K subs. I see you, my dog. Sounds like Irwin has accepted reality, as Barry Jackson likes to say. Okay, keep leaving your thoughts down below. I'll be sure to read it either on stream or after because I'm going to be getting out of here pretty soon. Just want to pull up the Twitter here, catch up, see if there's any other news that we saw. A report, Miami has largely avoided acquiring star players due to off-court issues, coachability concerns. To be honest, I mean, who is the source on this? The source is some guy named Caleb. How do I get rid of this? Caleb in the chat? Nah, I know you spell your name with a K. Caleb, I don't know who you are. I'll be sure to read through this a little bit later, though. But I do think there's some truth to this as far as the Miami Heat's only wanting Heat culture guys. And you can win a championship with guys who aren't Heat culture. They've just been very reluctant to do so. Wintour's second biggest extension or contract since LeBron. It makes sense. Bam hasn't signed the extension. He's only intended to. Oh, that is a good point, Ryan Goins. And I sure hope that wasn't just a tactic to get Mitchell. And now that Mitchell is not coming, I hope Bam doesn't recant. That sounds like a nightmare scenario that I did not consider and I do not want to think about at this moment because that is depressing. What's your confidence? Shout out to Playbook Sports. What's your confidence in the Heat's front office to land a star? Low. This distribution makes sense. Shout out to the Random Scrub Heat podcast. They'll be talking about this stuff all season. Those guys do a great job. Adrian Wojnarowski, screw you, you front office puppet. What's up, chat? Chatception right here. Summer of 26. Yeah, that's the depressing part is you already know in 2026, we're going to run it all back. Right now, we're going to say, let's never do this again. Let's never get our hopes up. We're all definitely going to do this again when he is up for that player option in the year. Hot Hoops said what we all been saying. At least Miami knows now. Mitchell's not an option. See whatever the hell else they could do. I know I said that I was frustrated with this Heat front office, but I am at least willing to let this offseason play out completely before I pass full judgment. Because if they can get Trae Young and some other nice pieces somehow, I don't know what the hell those are. But like I said, they're better at this than me. It's Andy Ellisberg's job to find talent, not mine. So I'm willing to let the offseason play out to see. And then I think pretty coming up soon here is when we find out the news. That's what I woke up to today. Song of Fire and Ice is getting a little bit chilly in here, huh, Heat Nation? Let me know this. If you weren't interested in Trae Young before, are you interested now? And then, yeah, that's here's the numbers for Mitchell. He'd be making less than 30% of the cap in his final 2 seasons. Not crazy, considering guys like Tyler Hero are making 20% of the cap. Not too far off from this. Actually, these numbers are a little bit smaller than what Bam is projected to get per year, which is kind of crazy. I'm not sure why that is. I'll have to look into that a little bit more. This was my mood waking up this morning. Shout out to Drew Starr. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. And Mitchell announced it himself, and I'm shocked because as a guy who wanted to be traded from the Jazz to the Knicks or the Miami Heat to stay in Cleveland, the city of hell, I just don't get it. But let me go through some of these comments real quick. Anything else different? F. Joe Cronin. I am going to be petty for Joe Cronin for life. No potential sign and trade. Maybe with another guy. Maybe with LeBron. He's still technically a free agent, but no, you guys don't want to hear that now. Up your audio. Can you not hear me this whole time? I did a sound check earlier. I thought I sounded okay. Let me know if I'm not loud enough for you guys here. Sign Miles Bridges. Alejandro, I did a rant on this the other day. Please don't get me started again. Miles Bridges should be in prison for his life, not in the NBA. I do not want that bum on my team. Saddest front office. Yep. Tank season, fellas. DeMar DeRozan. I like DeMar DeRozan, but I don't want to commit long-term money to him at his age. I've talked a lot about how I think the spacing is overrated because he's still good enough where defenses have to contest him. He's a great regular season scorer. He's an excellent fourth quarter scorer, which is kind of what the Miami Heat sucked at. So I like DeMar, but we'll kind of get into that another day too. But I guess before I go, I just want to share y'all this tweet that I posted a little bit earlier today, in which I said, I cannot defend this front office and the number of awful moves that they've made that continue to add up. However, I will be watching every Miami Heat game this season, and I'm going to be making notes of the fans who say they're done with this team. They're not allowed at the parade, whenever the hell that may be, which is likely in the far future. Because listen, I get the frustration, and I am not one of those fans that think the front office can do no wrong. They certainly can, and they certainly have. But in my opinion, and listen, okay, if you don't want to watch the games because you don't want to go through that stress of losing, I get that. I'm not saying you can't stop being a fan. You have every right to be frustrated to the point where you want to stop watching and stop rooting for this team. That's fine. But once you make that decision, that's final. I don't want you hopping back on this team when things are eventually good again and they eventually right the ship. Because part of being a fan is going through these rough times so you can enjoy the success. I was watching every game after Dwayne Wade left. I was watching every game of Luke Babbitt and Willie Reed and Rodney McGruder and those guys. Shout out to Rodney McGruder. I do like him. Because that's what being a fan is. You stick with the team through highs and lows, and that's my opinion. So if you want to jump off, you have every right to, but don't come jumping back on when everything is okay again. That's all I got to say for the stream, guys. I'll be sure to get out a full reaction at the time of or when I get some more time, I guess. Make sure y'all like. We got a bunch of people in here, so make sure y'all like the stream and subscribe. Help me get to my goal of 5K subs. I do greatly appreciate all the support. Watch my Tyler Hero video that just went live like an hour ago now. It's some great stuff, and comment your thoughts down below there. I'll see y'all.